Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports, and another very special Penguin recap edition of My Mom's Basement. We're getting towards the end of the season. It's a little bittersweet. It's such a great show. We don't want it to go anywhere. Speaking of not going anywhere, don't go anywhere after the Penguin recap, because I will be describing this week's or last week's Agatha All Along to Clem, as we've been doing all season. Another episode where I told you, Clem, it's pretty good. It's not Penguin good, but I got two good episodes to talk about this week. I'm happy.
I think it operates in the pretty good to not bad range, which I'll take as a definite win. And sometimes we've dipped below the bad range, but based on, and again, I haven't read anything, but I've seen there's been a lot of chatter about like what could be happening, theories, finale stuff. So I feel like there's a chance it could even go into the good zone at some point when it's all said and done. So the pretty good to not bad range is a range I can live with. However, the Penguin is operating in the really good, very good to great range at all times. And I told you I hadn't watched this week's episode at this point, but I went to IMDb just to see the review ratings for the episode, which don't mean everything, as we know, especially this crazy online world we live in. But I'd seen it was 9.5 for the Arkham episode, 8.8 for the next week's episode, and then 9.1 for this week's episode. And I said, all right, we're just churning out bangers. And with two more left and so many loose ends, I feel like we are going to have potentially the best two episodes of the entire season coming our way here.
I think you're right. And I've almost been afraid to say this F word. I don't want to say the F word on the podcast, but I've been holding back and I've been thinking they don't have any filler episodes. Like throughout the season, I've been thinking like, all right, like that wasn't a filler episode. That wasn't a filler episode, but I didn't want to say it out loud because I was like, one's got to be coming, right? We got the penultimate next week. We got the finale after that. I don't think they're going to hit the first filler episode next week. I think they delivered us a season of television in 2024 with no filler episodes. It's just the good shit. They packed it all into 8 episodes, and every week I look forward to it on Sunday morning. Sunday night, I'm blown away, and I'm like, I can't believe they did it again.
And yeah, I'm thinking how House of the Dragon ended up just being like a season full of filler episodes. It felt like, especially at the end.
We would rationalize it on the podcast. It's all right, it's a filler, but it's getting us to next week. Penguin said, fuck that. You don't need any filler. Every week is going to be awesome.
I wonder if they mapped it out and we're like 12 episodes, we're going to have to fill. Even 10, there might be a little F word. 8, that's lean. It's going to be perfect. It's cut nice and trim. And here we are just crushing every single week with new problems, new characters. I don't know if there was an oh fuck moment. We had about 6 last episode.
I think there was one. I think there was one with Vic.
Yes, definitely an oh fuck with all capital letters. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, point retracted.
And then like
redacted,
you could even say the final shot of the whole episode, the cliffhanger, kind of an oh fuck moment.
Yes, that was an oh fuck moment. As was I think the like just what cans were going to open and not open. You were thinking there could be an oh fuck moment. So there was oh fuck potential in that as well. So definitely we've trimmed down on the oh fuck moments, but I think that kind of just speaks of how much we had in previous episodes, right?
And tell you what, I need this show to be as good as it is right now because the Yankees are not that good right now. Down 0-3 as we're recording this in the World Series. If there's no game 6 and you're in the area of New Haven, come on down to Toad's Place. I mean, if there is a game 6, the show's still happening. But I imagine a lot of people in that area are Yankee fans, and they're going to be like, Robbie, if I'm choosing the Yankees World Series or Pup Punk, I understand you choosing the Yankees World Series. But November 1st, costume party. Clem's going to be there. I just wanted to get the plug in before we recap the Penguin and Agatha All Along this week. It's going to be fun. Pup Punk has selected our costumes finally. And I'll just tease it by saying it's not like a basement favorite, but I think the basement boys and girls will appreciate our costumes.
I think the same with my wife and I's costume that we've used before. I had to get a couple new things for it just because it's been so long since we wore them. And I'll be there. And hey, listen, New Haven, there's plenty of Red Sox fans in New Haven. There's plenty of Mets fans, I'm sure, in New Haven. We could root against the Yankees together if the World Series is on, and we can see Robbie's Heartbreak Live. I mean, I don't want Robbie's Heartbreak Live, but we can root against the Yankees together. Let's call a spade a spade.
It's going to be a fun time. Pup Punk Rocks for tickets. You spell Rocks RAWX, or just go to my Twitter and stuff. New Haven, November 1st. All right, let's talk about the Penguin. Episode 6 is called Gold Summit. We just read that right before we went live, and I haven't looked it up. I'm going to assume that's the name of the beer at the end of the episode. I think that would make a lot of sense. And
That's a
like the
great
beer,
call. You're right.
played a big factor. We opened with some good narration, and I'm sorry that I keep going back to The Sopranos to make comparisons, but it did remind me of like that opening episode of The Sopranos, the only one where you get Tony narration. It felt like that, where Oz is talking about the business growing and who has power in the city. They also show his operation growing. They show that he started with 2 buckets and now it's flourishing. And they also show Vic now carries a gun. And as soon as they showed that at the beginning of the episode, he comes down on the motorcycle, takes the gun out of the bag. It's like, okay, Chekhov's gun. I don't know if they're going to use it in this episode, but he's definitely going to have to turn to the dark side a little bit and make his first kill at some point. They did use it in this episode. They don't make us wait in this show. It's just like good shit right down the barrel. No pun intended. Another thing I appreciate, it's winter in Gotham City. I love me some Gotham City in the winter. When you give us it in Batman Returns with the Christmas theme, when you give us it in Dark Knight Rises with the post-apocalyptic style feel, I always like that. And Oz has to explain to Victor that they're dating around with Bliss. Another thing where you're like, brother, this is going to be an issue that you're going to have to snake your way out of. Like, what do you mean you're talking to all of the rival gangs and supplying them? Crown Point still has no power. Did you notice the building they're staying in Crown Point says zoo, which is like maybe a Batman Returns reference because he's in the sewers under the zoo? I don't know if that's a reach or not, but I think it could be.
I was like, is that sign attached to like there's like a little zoo nearby and we're gonna have the penguins come in? That seemed like it was gonna be a little excessive because he's already called the Penguin for another reason. I did notice that as well. The winter thing as well. I heard someone was saying that I believe they said the Batman's gonna take place in the winter and it's gonna take place like, I think right Batman after the show.
Yeah. Yep.
So I mean winter Batman's now see, this is the thing, though. I am not a huge Batman Returns guy because I don't like Tim Burton, the extra weird style. Yeah, 89 was fine, and then that one gets a little extra Tim Burton-y, and it's just not my cup of tea.
I did watch, speaking of Tim Burton, Beetlejuice this weekend. Thought it was very enjoyable. I know your wife is a huge Beetlejuice fan. We talked about it when it came out. I really thought it was great. Wasn't like the first Beetlejuice, but definitely a worthy sequel.
Perfect Halloween movie, right? Like Halloween, go check out Beetlejuice. Feel like
there's a little Beetlejuice baby. Very funny. They give you Beetlejuice's backstory in it. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
It's good stuff. It's Michael. I mean, it's worth watching just for Michael Keaton, like being Beetlejuice again, because he's fucking great as Beetlejuice. Here's something that I think a lot of people would say is great. Maybe some people wouldn't. Sofia has Dr. Rush tied up in an interesting position. That was... every week I texted you, my For You page is now just penguin memes, just top to bottom. Yeah. And it's a lot of like Sofia Gigante thirst tweets of just guys being like, oh my God, I would let her take me to Arkham City. Yeah, whatever. He's tied up. He just wants to be like, he wants her to be a dominatrix or something. He's like, whatever you want. Like he's got no pants on. They're all sweaty. And she's just like, so-and-so will see you out. Just a total power move.
I'm gonna put this is a blind statement, a blind take. That is my favorite transition in the history of our show. Now here's something some people like, maybe not everyone. I think we just learned a little bit about Rob Fox's private life and live on the podcast. And hey,
no, I was just talking about the thirst tweets. The Sofia, I'll let Sofia ruin my life. I'll let Sofia step on my head. People tweet things like that.
I'm not shaming Bob. This is the basement. If you can't let your freak flag fly here, you can't let it fly everywhere. It flies in the basement. I love you for it, Bob. But yeah, this dude Rush, man. Woo! He's a character. I mean,
what is his end game? That's I'm at the point now where we put him on the sus list, and then it's like, but is he just like he's just gonna be her submissive? And that this is just like, is he going to lose his mind at some point and become like a henchman? Is he going to fucking try to kill her? Is she going to kill him? I still think she might kill him at some point. And she's just like, yeah, he was my fuck toy.
I think he like wants to live out all those tweets you're reading about her doing all this shit to him.
He definitely does.
And then maybe he's kind of her much like she's like with Cersei in the Mountain, except he's like a twisted, fucked up, not as strong version of the Mountain, maybe. Where he's kind of
Yeah.
the henchman, the sidekick, and he, she sends, she catches the flies in the web and then gives them to him to really like let him do whatever the fuck kind of Arkham shit or red light therapy he has going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, that therapy thing I still feel like can come up in another way. Like maybe it's not even he uses it, but maybe in the Batman 2 they're using it in Arkham and it's fucking driving people insane, or they put her into that if she goes back into Arkham by the end of the show. I think that was still a thing. They focused on it in that episode, the back and forth red light.
Yeah. Also, I thought about this when they showed how the mushrooms had gone from just 2 buckets, which is very cool. They show how you remember this thing's going to become what it became, but you saw it when it was damn near everything just burnt to a crisp or whatever, or just died because of the atmosphere change. Shout out Sofia, because I think we thought it was her brother who originally thought of Bliss, but Sofia was like, this was my idea. I was in Arkham. This was, kind of my whole thing. A plus fucking drug acumen by whoever came up with fucking Bliss, right?
Yeah.
It's a hit. It's a smash hit.
It is a little Heisenberg-y. They would do especially towards the end of Breaking Bad, they would kind of just do montages to show how much the business has grown. Like when they go international or whatever, they just give you a montage and then it's like, oh my God, the business is bigger than ever. That kind of gave me the same vibe. If you have people in hazmat suits fucking farming drugs in an underground place, I'm going to get those vibes. Sofia and Sal become acquainted. He shows her some old recipes from his wife. He drinks Carmine's wine, and it's kind of a fuck you. She's like, I can't believe you opened that bottle. He's like, fuck that guy. Even uses it as to cook. And everyone says you're not supposed to use like the good wine to cook. He's like, fuck Carmine. Understood. Carmine set him up in like the biggest drug bust in Gotham history or whatever. And then you get a good dinner scene on the flip side among this new like family, the Cobbs and Victor. Victor feels like he's like part of the family, feels like he's like a son or something. And the mom is again kind of losing it. Victor's trying to help her, I think, by being like, she's talking about her son and stuff. And he's like, oh, Jack's at the bank. Don't worry about Jack right now. And that sets Oz off because he's like, what the fuck? You don't have the right to bring up my brother. Never bring up my brother. A lot of people on Reddit and stuff said this is a thing that can help people with dementia. If you just go along with what they're saying, you don't want to make them more agitated than they are. So Victor could literally be doing the right thing here. And Oz is just so irate that he mentioned Jack's name. Very good scene. And this was an episode overall where we've been praising Oz. We've been praising Sofia. Even Vic, I said in the first episode, I didn't think Vic was all that great. We're at the point now where I'm completely bought into Vic's performance. The mom in this episode, very good. This is not Livia good. I'm not going to, Livia's on a level of her own, but very, very good showing for the mom in this episode.
Yeah. We had ourselves a good mom episode. Might be our last full mom episode. We'll see how everything shakes
I think
out.
It will be, yeah. I mean, maybe they keep her alive till like the finale as a hostage or something to drive Oz fucking insane. But I mean, there ain't no mama in season 2.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting that dancing scene felt like about as good as it's going to get for her from here on out, right? And they really do live like a ghetto fabulous life. Like he's putting the fucking necklace on her, they're freezing their asses off in a place that doesn't have power. It's like that's what a life of crime gets you, like the dreams of that. And hey, maybe at one point you climb over everyone and kill your 2 brothers, still keeping that in the mix as a potential theory here. That's how you want to do to get there and get your fucking empire, cool. But like right now, it's tough sledding for old Penguin Boy.
And then tough sledding for Vic as well. As he's walking the streets, Squid comes and tries to mess with him. And he's asking him where he gets his money, asking him who he works for now. The worst vibes imaginable from this guy. Like almost too real in that you could imagine this guy in New York City or whatever, whatever big city you're in. This is the last guy you want to run into on the street at 2 a.m, wherever you are. And the way he comes up to him, the way he like starts to like make him flinch and starts to like swing at him and shit. It made me feel a little uneasy just watching it. And that pays off later. This scene, Oz, they show Oz's apartment getting broken into by Sofia and Sal. Oz lives above a store called Burgess Jewelry. I didn't realize this is actually where he lives. Tommy Smoke sent me a picture of this from, I think, episode 1 or 2, and he was telling me this is right by the old office. It is, I think it's like 27th and 5th or something. It's right by where Barstool used to be. And Burgess, of course, Burgess Meredith is the guy who played the Penguin in the 1960s Adam West series. So that's a great little nod to him to have Burgess Jewelry be the actual like location of where Penguin lives above.
And there's a little monocle as the there's like a little logo.
Is there? I
It's
didn't
a
even
guy,
know that.
and it's like the jeweler's holding a monocle up, kind of thing. Like it
Oh,
looks
that
like
even
he's doing
better.
a little jeweler thing. Yeah. So
I didn't even pick up on that. I love that. But they find when they go into the apartment, they're looking for any kind of family or connection. And Sofia mentions like, yeah, his mother's dead. Don't know about his dad. I think she says, or maybe she says his dad is dead as well. But they definitely think the mom is dead. They find Eve's picture and some of her underwear. She has like a drawer at his house and in his bedroom. She also takes a cigar cutter. And I feel like that's going to pay off at some point. Like, I think she's going to be cutting fingers off with that fucking cigar cutter, and it's going to be disgusting. Back at his place, finds his mom in a freezing cold tub. Who knows how long she was in there? It even, like, I don't know how they did it, but they made her look like blue. They made her look like she was going through hypothermia or something. And in an amazing scene, amazing acting, she makes him promise to kill her. She's like, I don't want to be a vegetable. I don't want to go through this. I know what I'm going through right now. I'm present. He's like, you're losing your mind. You're crazy. She's like, right now, I'm not crazy. Right now, I can see what's happening to me. Please promise to kill me. Now, here's the thing. This threw all of my theories up in the air because I feel like there's a million scenarios they can go with this promise that Oz eventually did make her the promise. Initially, I thought maybe the mom gets killed on Vic's watch, maybe by Sofia. Oz snaps, Oz kills Vic. Maybe he kills Sofia as well. Now I'm thinking, Oz promised to kill his own mom. Is he going to do something crazy like kill his own mom in front of Sofia to make her think he will do anything, that he has snapped to this level? Will he be more okay with the mom dying? Will the mom be used as a sacrifice in some situation where it's like her last breath, she'll be helping her baby boy become the kingpin that she always wanted him to be? I feel like this throws a bit of a wrench in what we thought could happen. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think he can. It's almost he's able to justify some of the really shitty stuff he's gonna do here.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's probably the last egg he wants to crack, but if need be, the egg has asked to be cracked. So he is now allowed to crack the egg. And by that, I mean kill his fucking mother. And based on everything I know about this dude, like that's probably the one thing you say he wouldn't do, but that's the one thing now he has like the permission to do. So I'm with you. I think that does open up that possibility. And it does feel like he has a Sophie's choice kind of a thing here. And it's like, well, I already got the green light on this. And the other path that he can then take if he kills his mom, he then has the path to become, rich and powerful and all his dreams essentially in exchange for his mom's life. So I'm 100% with you on that, Bob. And like you said, that squid guy, I got a shout out. I don't know if it's him, the casting director, everything. Everyone knows a guy like that.
Yeah.
That guy played it perfectly. Probably because he is that in real life. So I don't want to give too much a shout out because those people are the fucking worst. But maybe I'll just give him credit as a good actor. And he fucking nailed that hardo dickhead scumbag role so goddamn well, to the point I'm just like, kill this guy, Vic. I know you are not a killer, but I need you to kill this guy.
Yeah. And also going back to the mom, I could see Sofia still killing her or Sal killing her, and it making Penguin snap because he's like, that was supposed to be me. I was supposed to give her like a peaceful death, if that means whatever. And maybe they torture her and they, something like that.
This is kind of fucked up.
You can't trust the mob.
No. So that's the one organization I believe you cannot trust, actually, right?
Yeah.
Who is the odds-on favorite to kill the Penguin's mom? Let's just throw some odds out there right now. I don't think we throw any, sports books in on this. I don't think they want to have their name associated with this, but
I mean, skipping ahead, you see the crowbar at the end. I think that makes Sofia the favorite.
Minus
I would
200?
maybe even
Higher?
like a minus 150. I was thinking like, no,
Oh,
like I was thinking like, it, I don't know if anyone should be minus 200 right now.
okay, that's fair.
I think Sofia, then is it Penguin or Sal next?
Sal has the
Like
family
Squid
angle.
would have been on the list. He's off the list because he threatened her a little bit. Vic is not on the list.
Vic's on the list. Vic's on the list.
No.
Of course, he has to be. You have
It
to
could
put him
be,
on.
they could be like on his watch, but he's not going to kill her.
You could still bet the Titans to win the Super Bowl. You could still bet
All
the
right.
Giants.
Yeah.
You have to
Fair
put him
enough.
on the
He's
list.
on the list.
He's
like
plus
plus
2,500.
1,000.
Yeah. Plus
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a long
Yeah.
shot. And then where's Penguin on it? Is Penguin higher than
That's what I'm saying. Him and Sal are like, I don't know who I would put higher right now because he made her the promise this week. But you would think Sal, after he killed Sal's fucking wife and child, I would put Sal higher than Penguin. Even though Penguin made the promise, I think Sal and Sofia are ahead of him.
And yeah, and like let's be honest, when the mom dies, whatever you want to call it, it's not being done in that apartment in that scene. It's being done somewhere where
Yeah,
build the
taking
drama,
her to
hostage
warehouse or
situation.
something.
Might
Yeah.
even bring her back to where the mom and the son were burned alive as kind of a, bringing full circle.
I could see, and they might burn her alive. Might watch the Penguin or make Penguin watch.
All right. Now let's do some odds here. How does Penguin's mind? We just spent an hour in an episode about some 85-year-old dementia patient's going to get murdered here. That's the kind of sick shit this show is about, though. This show brings you in as a comic book show, and then it really gets to some deep, dark fucking mob stuff, man. Some really fucked up shit.
Sofia goes to threaten Eve after finds some information. She finds the Polaroids and stuff. She wants more information on Oz, so she thinks she could get it from Eve. Roxy gives her away. Roxy was the one that was talking to Vic early on in the show. Yep. And then you get a great scene. I guess that it skips a little, but we could talk about it now, where Sofia shows up at Eve's apartment. And I almost thought she was going to shoot her as soon as she opened the door. She was standing there like the Killing Joke, the Joker. He paralyzes Barbara Gordon as soon as she opens that door. Boom. I thought she was just going to shoot Eve, and that's her sign to fucking Oz. But no, she wants a little more information. Eve gives him up. I didn't know how to feel about that because it's like Oz put her in a really shitty spot, but there's still a weird, fucked up part of me that's rooting a little bit for Oz. So it's like I was a little disappointed she gave her up, but the whole scene between them where Eve just assumes this is going to be her last few minutes left on Earth. She's like, you're going to kill me, right? You came here to kill me. And Sofia makes the decision not to and is just pitying her in terms of like, oh, you got to put on the wigs. You got to pretend for these guys. Penguin was the best you ever had. There's that voice and shit. This was like a very good, it was a girl power scene in a weird way without being overly girl power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they weren't hitting you in the face with it, but it had that vibe.
Heavy Spoilers did a good breakdown between the way they were talking and interacting with each other and the way Sofia treated her despite having the upper hand and the way Penguin treats that politician, which we'll get into in a minute here. And he is violent, going at him, doing this and that. And she's like, he's going with the salty, she's going with the sweet, and like just tells it like it is. And even she said, like, I don't have privilege like you. I can't see in black and white. I have to live in the grays. And she kind of just tells it like it is. And she's fair. And I think, and this was another thing Heavy Spoilers have brought up, is that when she realized, because she thought Sofia was the hangman going to finish, kill some more people. And when she realized,
that was a big part of the scene as well that I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah. Penguin had to know that Carmine was the hangman and it's her friends. So he's like, wait, so he knew my friends died and he never told me that. And we've been intimate. We've been whatever this weird fucked up relationship they have is. Like at that point, I think he had betrayed her to the point where she could betray him. And it was equal betrayal in her mind. And that's why in the end, I was the same way. I was like, wow, she really gave him up like that. Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, the prostitute with the heart of gold, but it did feel like they had more than that. And it's like, no, but he, like 3 of her friends got fucking murdered and he did nothing about it. And
I forgot that aspect of the scene. That changes things. You're 100% right about that.
Right. Yeah. I forgot it too until I saw the recap and I said, oh, that's again, like we're going to hate this fucking guy in Batman too. Cause Bob, You're a Batman guy first and foremost. You don't even like have some fun with me. Like, oh, hey, about this villain, he's fun. You're like, no, Batman must survive. Bruce Wayne is so important. We need Gotham to thrive.
There's the Batman shelf over there. You see a Batman, Funko Batman. That's the Battinson. You get the whole animated series there, the whole 1960s series there, Dark Knight trilogy, the 4 movies before it. I don't think I actually have the Batman physical because I don't buy as much physical stuff anymore. But I am of the mindset that I kind of like the physical, so maybe I should get that.
Also, when I'm talking about villains, like like the way you feel about villains in Batman universe, the way I felt about Freddie Freeman. He's scary now, right? You can tell me how scary he is.
He's scary. He's got that giant fake smile like the Joker. I hate that guy. I absolutely hate him. He causes chaos. He can't stop hitting home runs. I mean, by the time this episode comes out, he will probably have hit 3 more home runs against the Yankees. My favorite scene in the episode, I think this is my favorite just because it made me laugh the hardest. What you mentioned, Oz going and torturing councilman. I think it was councilman or it wasn't the mayor. Councilman Haiti, played by, you alerted me of this today. I did not recognize him in the episode. Played by the guy who plays Billy Walsh. I'm not even going to try to say his name because I don't know what his name is. It's Reese something, I think. Billy Walsh from Entourage, who fucking hates suits, playing the biggest suit of them all, shutting off the power in Crown Point so they could have it City Hall and stuff. Penguin goes up to him with a set of pliers, puts it between his nostrils and just fucking squeezes. You see the blood rushing down. It's one of those scenes where, yes, we're on Penguin's side when it comes to this. Like, let's not fucking keep the power for the rich people. It makes you wince just watching it, though. It's like, even though that's the fucked up guy, you're like, oh God, all right, just stop doing it. Stop doing it. Get past this. And the funniest part, the part that made me laugh, I'm not a psychopath. I wasn't laughing at the plier part. The funniest part is right after that, he takes his tie, he wipes his pliers off, and then he helps him back out of his spot. He's like, come on, you got more room than you think. Come on. And then just the switch, the flipping that switch in his mind, that made me laugh so fucking hard. I was like crying.
That was such a great part, and it was so real because you've always had like the person to have the guy who's salty. It'd also be the guy who's telling you have a little extra room there. Just crushed it. Colin crushed it. Everything was awesome on the scene. And again, that was a heavy spoilers where he said Billy Walsh. I'm like, no fucking way, Mr. Medellin himself, Billy Walsh. So, and he's involved with the Real girl. I didn't think he was even in the Batman. So he's gonna be, I think, and he's like a character in the books. He's a corrupt politician.
Haiti is, yeah.
We're gonna be seeing more of him. I think he's gonna be a real nuisance to like the people trying to make a real change in Gotham here. So it was just incredible though. You nailed it, dude.
Haiti is in a lot of the run that I read when I was in high school, like the New 52 run, and becomes mayor. So I'm like, I don't know. They just elected Bella Real mayor in the Batman. I don't think they're gonna do like a re-election or like she's gonna get assassinated. He's gonna step up. But there's an option to make him the mayor in the future.
I want to put this here just because we're talking politics. I'm not going to go on a real political rant, but I was going to say this on social media, and I didn't want to get Ruth Condon forever and being accused of lying, but it's the God's honest truth. AJ said to me like 2 days ago and goes, Dad, I know who I'm not voting for president. And I said, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. And don't worry, folks, we're not getting political in the basement. This isn't like serious political shit. And he goes, I'm not going to say the 2 people's names, but it's 2 politicians. It's not the presidential. It's like a councilman or some local thing. And they have been advertising nonstop on YouTube, which they watch YouTube. Sometimes they can watch regular YouTube, not just YouTube for kids. And then they had commercials during the entire NLCS, which was being played at 5:00 local time. He's watching the Mets, and like every fucking commercial, if you watch the playoffs, you know every fucking commercial break usually has both fucking like sides are represented. He has heard these names, so he said, "This person X, I'm not going to vote for because they want to let all the prisoners out of jail." And that's a terrifying thought, right? And then person B has stolen a bunch of money, and he has giant garbage trucks full of money. So in AJ's mind right now, he has a person looking to release all the criminals and a person with millions of dollars in garbage trucks right now, as corrupt as it can get. And I'm like, I don't want to like get on a soapbox, and getting any kind of reform in this country is impossible. We just can't show these during baseball games at the very least that are played like before 8:00 local, and maybe like I don't know. It's hard with YouTube because even YouTube, I don't like showing them, but there has to be
But, like,
some
maybe
sort
not
of
on Fortnite videos and shit, you
yes,
know?
yes. There needs to be a line of demarcation here because, like, a literal, he's 6 years old and he's saying this stuff to me.
And I
And
mean, from his perspective, he lives in Gotham City. It's like Bane is running for fucking council, and he wants to release everyone from Arkham. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
hello, AJ, come vote for me.
Yeah,
And you know, and we are, my wife and I are the least political people you'll meet. And we're just like, listen, buddy, they tell a lot of like stories about each other. Don't listen. We're not going to vote for them. Like yada yada
yeah.
yada. And he's like, well, how are you voting for? I'm like, we're not even getting into that right now, pal. So moving on. But yeah, I did feel like it was a little bit of Gotham. It's like fucking it's
Yeah.
terrifying. This guy's gonna let everyone out of Blackgate. This guy has people in Arkham dying on his watch. Craziness.
There's no one with real change, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Vic, this is the moment where he has his dark side turn, I would say. And his hand was forced. It wasn't like he made a fucked up decision. He goes back to Squid and is like, hey man, basically we're not hiring right now, but I put in a good word. And you know, the people I work for, they really respect you. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pay you off, and I could pay you off every single week because this is your territory, and we all know that. And he takes it and he starts looking at it. And then I'm thinking, like, if you're Squid right now, the power's out, he's fucking doing nothing. You take that money, you start get paid off a few weeks first before you start asking for more. But he takes it and starts throwing it. And he's like, I'm spending this fast, and gets in Vic's face. He's like, you think you could fucking pay me off? Bring me to Oz right now. Bring me to Oz. He's like, all right. He's like, Oz is gonna kill you, dude. He's like, okay, I'd like to fucking see it. He tries to give him another out of like, it's gonna be a few hours. He's like, I'll wait. It's like, oh fuck, I hope he has that gun on him. And he did it before I even thought he would do it. I thought they would kind of like, I thought he would bring him in somewhere and then shoot him in the back or something, Goodfellas style. He just fucking turns real quick, 180, shoots him, and it hits him in the throat. And he has to watch this guy bleed out as blood is spurting out of his neck. He's starting to cry, saying, I'm sorry. His voice is getting shaky, runs off eventually. Penguin later comforts him about it, realizes what happened because he tried to talk to him about Squid earlier, kind of blew him off. And he's like, oh, it's that guy. Gives him a big hug, like a fatherly hug. And it's like, it gets easier, which is such a chilling statement. Like, it is comforting, but like, you're basically saying, hey, get used to this because that's the business you're in. Great scene. The whole way they played the actual shooting and then the Penguin thing after, I thought was phenomenal.
Yeah, and even the conversation where Penguin has real shit on his mind, and Vic just tries to get a hand from his like idol or whatever. And to Penguin's credit, like he was willing to help out, but I think Vic was like he's dealing with enough shit with his mom, and that's kind of the thing about it all. And seeing like a young Vic, you saw like Vic 1.0 where he's just trying to make it work and pay him off, and he'll just take the hits. Right, he took the lump when he paid off the police officer, and then just seeing it. And this show keeps it fucking real. It's like it would have been a clean shot in like another show, in a Marvel show,
Yeah.
right? In this
Yeah.
show, it's fucking half the neck is gone, and it's just. And this was another. I'm like, I'm not going to stare at the screen right now. I don't need to see this kid's blood.
My fiance had to look away. She was like, all right, tell me when it's off.
Yeah. And this is the one that was like, please kill him, Vic. Please kill him. Then I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
just die, dude. Just get off of my screen. So that was just an overall just whew. And then he sees the blood on his shoes later, and that one is going to end up haunting Vic more. It's going to haunt Squid for those last couple of seconds of his shitty life.
My gut says no, but do you think there's any chance this comes back to get Vic, like the killing? My gut says nobody really cares about Squid like that.
I'm with you. I think it's more so just hey, he is now a killer. He's now gone full. He's broke bad. He's officially broke bad. This was probably the last threshold he needed, and he did it. There might be some line about it, and you kind of maybe see him turn cold. You see, like this not to spoil anything, but there is some stuff in The Wire where there's like these innocent characters come in, and then some of them break bad too. You're just like fuck. So. It's fucking gnarly, dude. That was a gnarly scene. Oh, fuck scene. Definitely an oh, fuck scene. Yeah. Hand up. Completely forgot about that one.
And then the final big scene of the episode is the Penguin rallying together all of the rival gangs in Gotham. He brings them here. He's like, I got something special to show you. Opens up a box in the back of a car. It's just a bunch of beers. He throws them each a beer, and he gives them his pitch of, hey, Sal and the Gigantes. He's like, whoever their friggin' name is, they don't even like their friggin' name. He's like, they have the power to take all of us out. We're all little tiny gangs, spread apart. We all have our own areas. What if we banded together? Basically, what if we unionize this thing? Come together. We're all going to be one big gang. We could fight against them. Earlier in the episode, they sent him a sign, 3 dead bodies with the pinkies cut off and all that shit. So, like, obviously, the gang war is upon us. We're basically there already. He gives his pitch of like, will you join me? And a lot of them, the triads especially, are like, absolutely not. You're a fucking, conniving little asshole. And then they start to hear him out, and it's like, I don't know, he's got a point. And they signify that they're in by cracking a beer. And it was such a cool, like, way to cut to everyone. It was almost a Return of the Jedi, the fucking nods before they go through with it. It was just the beer can, the last one being the leader of the triads, I think it was. And then the final shot is Sofia coming into the apartment with Vic and the mom dancing. She's got the crowbar, so people are pointing out comparisons to A Death in the Family when Joker kills Jason Todd Robin with a crowbar. Will she do that to Vic? Great way to end the episode, though. And another thing that I didn't expect Penguin like rallying together all the gangs and them joining him. I thought they would think too lowly of him still. But he's got the bliss. He's got the drugs. They were giving it out for free this week, so it's friggin' all over Gotham. It's spread. The addiction is spread. The Penguin keeps on rolling. Penultimate next week.
Motherfucker's good at what he does.
Yeah.
I loved, there's so many, like I said last week, the way that tattoo scene was shot where the music's off, you just see all the carnage taking place before the kid knows. And this was similar. I don't think I've ever seen a scene where popping of the beer can means we're in. And if you don't pop it, you're going to have a bunch of gangsters who are like, you may have to go now. And you're kind of on edge waiting for beer cans to pop. I thought that was so fucking cool. And just another example, like, of the originality of the show that I just love, man. It's like, for people who have always said like, oh man, I wish you guys weren't so negative, or you guys followed stuff that was, shows that were better. Watch these old shows that were good. No, this was like the perfect thing. A good show that's new and fresh and is going to impact future big projects with the Batman and however they flesh out the universe. And what do they call this again?
It's crime, like the Batman epic crime saga or something.
Yeah.
There was a great tweet about it where they were like, as soon as they announced that, I was like, that's kind of corny. And now it's like, oh, we get it. It is an epic crime saga. And like that final shot was even chilling. The way they panned out slowly to reveal that, Sofia was in the apartment with them. Like, you could tell it was coming when they start backing up. But as soon as you reach that crowbar, it's another like, oh, fuck.
I didn't think she was going to be there that quick. I didn't know what was coming in that scene. And I said that, I go, oh, and listen, I'm still Team Sofia. Or what are you right now? Are you Team Sofia?
I was thinking about it this week. Yeah. Like, yeah, I think I am. I think I'm still team, but like, I know what she's about to go do. It's not good. And I'm also not super team Maroney. I don't love Maroney. Like, I'm more Penguin than Maroney, I think. Even after he did that to his wife and kid, I guess. I don't know. I don't know who to root for. There's nobody to root for in the show, but they're all kind of likable in weird, fucked up ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be like if the Sopranos had like a rival fan. Like, I know they had some issues with New York, but it never really got to this, not even close to this point till like the end, basically. But if you had it where it's like season one, you guys are just going to war and having all this crazy stuff, and you saw how Johnny Sack and Tony were close, and then all of a sudden, Johnny Sack's outside Olivia's house about the fucking murder with the crowbar. It would be crazy. So to see how this is, they built all these characters up and kind of got it going. Yeah, I don't know how. So the thing is, you also know if you're on Team Oz, you're fighting another day. I don't know if Team Sofia is gone in 2 episodes. Or Team Oz, you figure, is still around. I feel like Maroney will still be around, but again, you never know. They could take this. We thought the Falcones were going to be this organized crime family throughout at least the Batman 2, right? And then subsequent projects. So I really have no idea what's going with it. Again, another credit to how good the show is. And this was another point that Heavy Spoilers made in his video, which if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out, is like the way Sofia is like empathetic or sympathetic, whatever. It might end up being her like Achilles heel because she was like that. And that's why, she met with Carmine instead of, after she had met with the reporter, and is like, is that going to be her undoing? Because we know Oz is not empathetic as
Yeah.
sympathetic. He will do whatever is fucking
Yeah.
necessary, including potentially killing his own mother to get what he wants. And I don't know if she has that. She will kill her whole family.
Like, will
Her
she
whole,
kill his mom? Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
didn't think about that.
it's going to be very interesting to see how they play, because I think in the end, and I imagine this is usually happens in all crime, the more ruthless person can usually win. That's why it feels like
Yeah.
Escobar. Like, I watched a lot of Escobar stuff. I don't know if it was last winter or the winter, whatever. That was crazy. I don't know how I watched like Narcos, a couple of documentaries, and this guy was just killing big, took down a fucking plane full of innocent people.
I might have to make a quote card, like one of those like Sports Center looking things. That was crazy. Clem on Pablo Escobar's life.
Oh God, I have no other way.
That
to
was
say.
crazy and confirmed. That was crazy. Yeah.
Can confirm. Yeah, that's why Medellin was such a hit, because actually, was it? No, it flopped. Didn't it flop?
No, huge flop. Yeah.
Huge flop. In theory, it could have been
greatest trailer of all time, right? It had like a great trailer. Yeah.
All wraps up with Billy Miller. Billy Walsh.
Let's tell everyone about Game Time before we get into Agatha All Along, me describing episode 7 to you. So Game Time, you know we love Game Time. It's the best. It's the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. We love getting out to live events, whether it's a concert, a football game, a comedy show. We always use Game Time. It's the best and easiest to use, as I've said over and over again. The brand new Game Time Picks feature also makes it way easier than it ever has. So if you go to the website right now, Game Time Picks, they've got tickets under $50. They've got all sections where it's music, sports, theater. Clem, we got the Basement Bowl coming up soon. November 3rd, this Sunday, Washington Commanders at New York Giants. Very excited for that. I was just looking at tickets for it. Let's see. Tickets to that. Guess what? You could get in the stadium for $53 this weekend. Commanders at Giants. That's an absolute steal. Just pull up your chosen event, turn on the GT Pick setting at the top of the screen, or browse the best local Game Time Picks deals near you on the Game Time app homepage. What are you waiting for? Get those tickets now. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code MMB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but again, create an account, redeem that code MMB. You'll get $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. We love Game Time. All right. Agatha All Along, episode 7. This episode was mostly focused on Lilia, who is one of the older witches played by Patti LuPone. Every episode kind of it feels like it focuses on another person and gives you backstory along with the Witches Road stuff. They're on a hot streak right now. I think the last 2 episodes were pretty damn good. Like the first episode I really liked. The next maybe 2 or 3 I was so with. But like this one and the 2 before it, 5, 6, and 7, I was very in for. It's really starting to hook me. So credit to Agatha All Along. Lilia, the older witch, she's starting to lose it, kind of like a supernatural Uncle June, it feels like. We'll keep the Sopranos references rolling.
I like that.
The whole series, she's been kind of snapping in and out of things, and she'll say something, and the rest of them will react to like, who are you saying that to? This episode explains that. So it begins with her imagining herself falling in like this black abyss, like Get Out, very much inspired by Get Out, I think. But she's dressed as Glinda from The Wizard of Oz. So right away, it's like, all right, they're going to get weird. I know the show has a lot of Broadway vibes. Obviously, you hired fucking Patti LuPone. Agatha offers to answer questions for Billy along the road. They cut away from her right away. And then it's just Agatha and Billy. She's like, I'll answer any questions for you. He says, is Wanda really dead? And she goes, yes, no, maybe. And he's like, have you seen a body? And she's like, kinda, but it's hard to tell. It's like, all right, that's weird. And then she tells him, if you want straight answers, talk to a straight person. Agatha All Along. Very proudly gay show. There's a lot of funny, like, gay lines. Later on, Billy goes to call himself a querent, and he goes, I'm not a querent, I'm a queerant. And everyone does the point and laugh, like, we get it. But they come across this big castle, Wizard of Oz looking castle. They go in. Billy turns into, I think, Maleficent. I think is, I don't know if that's the name of the villain, but the Angelina
Yeah.
Jolie character, like,
Mhm.
has the horns and stuff. Agatha turns into the Wicked Witch and has this great line where she says she's based on me, you know. And he's like, you can't prove that or something. But they go through, you know, she was the Jolene that Dolly wrote about, and she was
Yeah.
through history and all these things. I like the idea that the Wicked Witch was based on her. And this trial is like a tarot card reading. So there's a table in the middle of this room. There's little spaces for you to put the right cards in, and you got to like guess the right cards or, you know, the right story. And then the ceiling is full of swords hanging upside down. If you put the wrong card in, a sword just falls and fucking pokes into the ground. So it's like almost like a weird fucked up like board game in real life. And they cut back to Lilia, who's not in the room. So it's like goes back and forth between Lilia and one other witch, I forget her name. And then in the Wicked room is Agatha and Billy. They go back to Lilia.
Quick
She
question.
doesn't
Quick question.
go ahead. Question. Yeah.
As an own sword guy, are they like all different cool looking swords, or is it pretty uniform in terms of swords?
I think they're pretty uniform, but they're pretty cool looking.
Like I would love a pirate sword, like the little curved
Yeah,
one.
no.
I'd love like a big fucking Thundercat sword and like
They're all
okay.
kind of medieval style. The broadsword, yeah.
Yep, broadsword. Okay, fair. Thank you.
So they go back to Lilia. She doesn't remember a lot of the recent past, but she's flashing back in and out of like a distant past where she's like a child and she's talking to this like Italian Sicilian nun, and she's going in and out of fortune teller, and then she goes back to like episode 1, a moment where she freaked out, and then she reveals that she has these gaps, they call them, where she doesn't experience time like us. Almost maybe a little Dr. Manhattan-y, like not in a way where he
Yeah.
experiences everything all at once, but she said when she was a kid, she like experienced her life out of sequence. It fucked her up. She was able to like disconnect herself from the force and didn't feel that for a long time. But now that she's old, it's coming back. And she's like, maybe it means I'm at the end of my life. So it's kind of fucked up. And the rest of the episode is told Tarantino style through like, they skip you ahead, they pull you back, they make you confused, they explain it, and they do it really well. They never make it too confusing. It's always like they'll skip ahead and then explain it. They'll skip ahead and then explain it. But it flashes forward to her being with the Wicked crew already. She's dressed like Glinda again, and she admits to placing the sigil on the teen in the first place. And at one point, she gets really mad at him and calls him teenager. And they're like, "Whoa, full name." And I thought that was a funny line. But they have to explain to her, like, "Hey, you're not mad at him anymore. Like, we're in the future. Like, you got to trust us. You're already over that." So it's like they have to snap her back into it. And then she goes back to the gaps. She gets back to the Wicked spot, and she's able to put the cards in the right spot because that's what she did originally. She was like a tarot card reader, so she's the right person for the job. Realizes she has to read her own cards. She's like, "Oh, this is my trial." So she puts the cards down for her own story. It's like a Slumdog Millionaire moment. Goes back to all of her life, her past, and oh, I know how to put this, and I was the traveler, and I did this. Then it flashes back to her in like this cave, and Rio walks in full fucking death robes. And they reveal, finally, they go back through all the moments where it was hinted at through the series, where the Ouija board spelled out death, and Agatha said something about you'll get the bodies after I'm done or something. It's revealed that she is death. It's like a big whoa. We all saw it coming. Still a cool reveal moment. And Lilia tells Agatha, like, hit the deck when she calls you a coward. They go back to the Wicked room. So this is teasing something in the future. Eventually, someone's going to call Agatha a coward and then maybe throw a knife at her, and she's going to have to duck. But Lilia stays behind to fight the Salem 7, sends the rest of them on their way on the road. And in a fucking metal-ass ending to this episode, the Salem 7 come into this room, which is kind of like a big medieval tower, like you would picture Rapunzel at the top of it. And this is where the swords are. The swords are still hanging from the top of the ceiling.
Okay.
She places a card that sends the room upside down when the Salem 7 get up in there. And she holds on to this table. The whole tower inverts. The Salem 7 all fall onto the upward swords, and they fucking show it. They show these swords going through their fucking bodies and shit. And then Lilia, she can't hold on for much longer. She lets go. and it sort of reveals to you the beginning of the episode when you saw her falling, like Get Out.
Yep.
She was falling in this tower, and she fucking falls onto a sword. They don't show her falling onto a sword because she's the good guy we were rooting for and stuff. And then it shows her after that, like as a child, going back to that nun. I don't know if they were implying that was heaven already and she was in there in the afterlife, whatever you want to call it, or if that was just she, is still experiencing shit out of order in some way. But it was a cool episode. I know it was probably a little confusing for me to explain like a time jumping episode to you like that, but it was really well done.
So I like to think that there are other people that are getting Agatha the same way I am. And I am very happy because that was such a interesting episode. And to hear it, you have the wicked stuff. I'm waiting for someone to be called the lion coward. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, they didn't sing in this one either. Like when they come out as Wicked, I'm like, oh God, another Broadway number. No singing.
Oh man. One question about when the room got flipped upside down with the swords. Did it resemble, oh God, I hope you know this reference. Did it resemble the pit in Mortal Kombat when you uppercut the guy in and go into the pits?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank God.
I absolutely
that
get
reference.
that reference. Yes. Like the way that the Salem 7 fall into the swords was that. It was exactly that.
I might have to, if Agatha actually, if you had told me, and then they said like fatality because it was like a Mortal Kombat nod, I would have had to watch the finale live. I would have had to. Is the finale
after
next?
No, I think there's 2 or 3 more. Like this, or no, there's 1 or 2 more. Let me see. Agatha, I feel like I looked this up before, but I know there's either 8 or there's 8. Okay, there's just 1 more. This was the penultimate and a good penultimate. We're in a spot now where I think there's been 7 episodes. I've liked 4 of them. Like I've been kind of like so on 3 of them, but we're at the point where it almost feels like a Miss Marvel to me, where it's like, all right, we obviously weren't the target audience for this, but they did a good job with it.
Now they have a few extra characters in the universe now. A lot of people are gonna be like, who the fuck are these people when they just show up in like Doomsday?
Yeah, right? I can't really imagine most of them showing up in anything else. Like I can imagine maybe Aubrey Plaza. Obviously, you could imagine Agatha because we've seen her in WandaVision. But him, like, yes, I can imagine him in the Young Avengers. He's just he feels so isolated still in the show, where it's like he's still on his own journey. He's still about magic. I guess he'll get Tommy back at the end, and then they'll show up as a tag team at some point.
True.
Just none of the other witches, like a lot of them are dying off. They'll be dead by the end of this. But yeah, I don't know. It's like they're doing a good job with it, but it doesn't feel anything like the MCU to me. So it's hard to imagine the crossover, the jump happening.
It's gonna feel weird when Marvel characters are in the MCU, almost, right? It's just very. Part of me wants to watch the finale live now that I'm telling you, just the Mortal Kombat thought has really got me excited. But I feel like I have to see this all the way through now because it's like I can't just go in and just get because I would basically watch in the previously on and I'd be like, oh, this is all the stuff Robbie was explaining. There's Rainbow Road, or Witches Road or whatever, and I'd just be going through it. But no, I have to see it through to the end. But no, I think you actually did a really good job. I like the Tarantino style, and it sounds like they are doing some fun little tricks to keep the show fresh, which is like we say with Penguin. I have to be fair, Agatha does it too, and I do appreciate it, even if I'm just hearing about it through your voice.
And speaking of skipping to the end of things, since we're at the end of this podcast, I think it's worth mentioning. I've obviously not been the biggest Venom fan, the movies. I think the first one is fine, very watchable. It's okay. I hated the second one. I saw the second one, like I've told the story, opening night. It was actually like a fan screening where Andy Serkis came out in the IMAX Lincoln Square and gave an intro for the movie, and everyone was going nuts. And then it was so bad, I thought I was going to fall asleep. It was an 1.5 hour movie. It's a short movie. I thought I was going to fall asleep at the loudest scene in the movie. It was that boring and just rushed, and I hated it. I think I'm at the point where I just don't really enjoy the idea of Venom solo movies. I like Venom as a Spider-Man antagonist. I don't love him as a hero. And that might be sacrilege. I'm sure there's comic fans that would say, like, there's a ton of amazing anti-hero Venom stories. I'm not the biggest fan. I love Tom Hardy. I don't love his portrayal. I don't love his Eddie Brock voice. I don't love his Venom voice. So Ken Jack called me over to his desk the other day and he said, hey, I know you're not like crazy concerned about spoilers for Venom 3, He was watching it. I won't say how he was watching it, but he was watching it at his desk. He's like, "You want to watch the final 15 minutes with me?" I said, "Fuck yeah." We watched it. Oh my God, I really didn't like it. I can't like sit here and talk shit on it and be like, it was horrible because I watched the final 15 minutes and I didn't really like the franchise going in. But it was a lot of CGI. I'm not going to spoil it because it just came out on Friday. A lot of CGI, a lot of obviously it's the end of a trilogy, so they're trying to pull on the heartstrings. And again, I can't criticize that jumping in at the final 15 minutes because maybe the first hour and 15 was really sentimental and emotional and amazing and would have made me cry. But just I was stunned by how much I didn't like the final 15 minutes. To the point I think I walked away like without seeing if there was even a post-credit scene. It was just
Wow.
not for me. Also today, as we record this, October 29th, 3 weeks after Joker came out, it's out on digital. So I will be watching it before we record the next episode of My Mom's Basement. And after we're done talking about Penguin and Agatha All Along, I'll talk Joker too. We'll finally do the Folie à Deux. I think that's the subtitle. Dumb subtitle. Nobody calls it Joker Folie à Deux. Everyone's calling it Joker too. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'll watch it.
It's going to be tough too, because I mean, it sounds like Agatha has really the chance to have a good finale. Obviously, Penguin, we are stoked for. I don't know if they're going to be a penultimate show like Thrones or your typical finale episode where that's where the big shit goes boom. But I'm pretty sure Joker 2 is going to be the ugly part of the good. I wouldn't say bad is going to be Agatha, but like the good, the all right, and the ugly. Pencil in Joker 2 for the ugly part of those three. Woo! I can't wait though. I can't wait.
Did you see his quote about it today? He had a weird quote
No.
about Joker 2 today. Let me actually pull it up. I think it was on Discussing Film. He loved it. He was like all for Joker 2, probably because it's a weird, experimental, half musical, sequel to $1 billion movie where it's like it is a crazy shot. But here's Tarantino's quote. He said, Todd Phillips is saying fuck you to the movie audience. He's saying fuck you to Hollywood. He's saying fuck you to anybody who owns stock at DC and WB. Todd Phillips is the Joker. It's like I understand from a experimental filmmaker's perspective who came up, in the indie scene doing stuff nobody had ever seen. I understand fuck you to the man. I'm not sure the sign of a good movie is that it says fuck you to the audience, the stockholders, everyone that sees it. At some point, like, what are you talking about?
I mean, if I could get a studio to like greenlight me, like taking a shit for 2 hours or whatever,
Yeah,
that would be saying all the
could you
same
say
things,
the same
right?
thing about all that? Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I don't know, like they made a $200 million courtroom drama that has a few musical numbers in it. Apparently, it was just like they wanted to shoot in LA on a bunch of sets. Todd Phillips and Joaquin, I think, each got paid $20 million for it. Lady Gaga, I think, got paid $12 million for it. It's like, I get the first one made $1 billion, so you had house money to play with, but bad decisions overall. And then the only other thing I saw today worth mentioning just made me laugh. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania headline came out today. They said they actually did make a profit on it, so don't call it a flop. They made $88,000 on the movie, a net profit of $88,000. So that there you go. You could fund the next Marvel Pez dispenser or something. I don't know. You can't fund a movie. You can't fund a commercial. You can't fund a short film. 88,000.
Fun fact: the Pez factory is in Connecticut. I believe Orange, Connecticut. I don't know if that's the name of the town. And
so if you're coming to New Haven,
check it out. It's
drive on past
place.
the Pez factory.
We took Sienna when she was like 3. She loved it, and AJ's never been, so we have to go back.
Oh, you can go in?
Oh yeah, you go in and you can. It's a million different Pez dispensers, and they have a little tour. You can see where they make it. It's incredible. It's not a huge thing. It is a nice little slice of Americana. So check that out. Who would have thought Quantumania would bring something so good? Now the thing is, like, $88,000 or irreparable harm to your biggest villain, and honestly, your entire cinematic universe. I don't know if it ended up being a win for Marvel, but that's for them to decide, not for us,
still
right?
Frustrates me. That movie still frustrates me because there's still a lot of portions of it that I enjoyed, and there were still like, it was. I saw the good movie in there. I looked at it, and I like an X-ray. I was like, oh, there's a good movie in that thing. Yeah, bothers me. All right, We'll be back next week. We're talking more Penguin. We're talking Agatha All Along. We'll finally have a Joker Folie à Deux review for you. And we'll see you then. Same bat time, same bat channel.